Welcome to Everyday English Practice channel. I would be happy if you subscribe to our channel. In this video, if you're watching this, you're likely eager to learn English, or perhaps you want to improve your existing skills. Whatever the reason, today I'm going to teach you one of the most effective ways to learn English, shadowing. This method is highly practical, and it can help you in a variety of ways. Whether you're a beginner or at an intermediate level, shadowing can be adapted to suit your needs. What is shadowing? So, what exactly is shadowing? Shadowing is a technique where you listen to native English speakers and repeat what they say immediately after they say it. It's like following them closely, almost like a shadow. The purpose is to copy their words, tone, and pronunciation as accurately as possible. This technique is not just about repeating words. It's about mimicking the rhythm, flow, and natural pace of how English is spoken by natives. The reason why shadowing is so effective is because it gives you an opportunity to practice real-life language, not just textbook language. By shadowing, you're learning how English is naturally spoken, including the intonation, stress patterns, and pauses that native speakers naturally use. In addition, it's a fun and engaging way to practice. You get to hear a native speaker and instantly repeat their words, which helps you internalize the language in a natural way. Why shadowing works? Why does shadowing work so well? Well, think about it. When you learn a new language, there are several things you need to focus on: listening, speaking, and understanding grammar and vocabulary. Shadowing helps with all of these things at once. Here's how. Listening. You get to practice listening to natural speech. Native speakers don't speak slowly or enunciate every word the way textbooks do. By shadowing, you train your ears to understand how English sounds in the real world. Speaking. When you repeat what the speaker says, you get the chance to practice speaking. You're training your mouth and brain to move at the same speed as the native speaker, which improves fluency. Pronunciation. By copying the speaker, you practice getting your pronunciation right. You also learn the correct stress and intonation patterns. Vocabulary. When you shadow, you are constantly exposed to new words in context. Instead of memorizing vocabulary in isolation, you're learning it as part of a conversation or story. How to start shadowing. Now that you understand why shadowing is effective, let's talk about how you can get started. Shadowing is a simple method, but it requires patience and consistency. Here are the steps you should follow to get the best results. 1. Choose the right content. The first step is to choose the right content to shadow. This is very important because if you pick material that is too advanced, you might get frustrated and not see much progress. On the other hand, if you choose content that's too easy, you won't challenge yourself enough to improve. Start with something simple. For example, you could begin with short dialogues, YouTube videos for English learners, or podcasts designed for English learners. These types of content typically speak more clearly and use basic vocabulary. As you get more comfortable, you can gradually move on to more complex material, like movies, TV shows, or news broadcasts. It's also important that you pick content that interests you. Learning English can be hard, and the more you enjoy the material you're shadowing, the more motivated you'll be to practice. 2. Listen first. Before you start shadowing, you need to listen carefully to the speaker. Don't rush into repeating what they say right away. Take your time to understand the content. Try to catch the main ideas, and notice how the speaker pronounces words and uses intonation. At first, you might not understand everything, and that's okay. The purpose of listening is to get familiar with the sound of the language and the way it flows. Don't worry if you miss a word or two. Focus on the overall meaning and how the sentences are structured. 3. Repeat what you hear. Once you feel comfortable with the material, it's time to start shadowing. Begin by repeating what the speaker says, but do it in small chunks. Start with one sentence or phrase at a time. If you're not sure about something, pause the video and replay the section. Don't rush. The goal is to practice and get better over time. As you repeat the sentences, try to match the speaker's intonation, stress, and rhythm. English is a language that has a natural flow, with words linked together in a way that might be different from your native language. By shadowing, you are training yourself to speak English as it's naturally spoken, not in a slow, robotic way. At the beginning, don't worry about being perfect. Just focus on getting the rhythm and pronunciation as close as possible. You will improve with time and practice. 4. Focus on pronunciation. One of the most important parts of shadowing is focusing on your pronunciation. Native English speakers use certain sounds and stress patterns that are sometimes different from other languages. By shadowing, you will practice these sounds and learn to pronounce words more naturally. For example, English has certain vowel sounds, like the difference between ship and sheep, that are essential to mastering. By mimicking a native speaker, you'll learn to produce these sounds correctly, even if they are different from your native language. Additionally, pay attention to intonation, the rise and fall of the voice in sentences. In English, intonation can change the meaning of a sentence. For instance, a rising intonation at the end of a sentence can turn it into a question. Shadowing helps you become more aware of these nuances. 5. Gradually increase speed. As you become more confident with shadowing, try to gradually increase the speed. At first, the native speakers may speak more slowly, and it's okay to shadow at that pace. But as you get better, try to keep up with faster speech. This will help you improve your fluency and get used to how English is spoken in real-life situations. You can also challenge yourself by shadowing different types of speakers. For instance, you might shadow someone who speaks very quickly, like a news anchor or a comedian, and then try to match their pace. This will help you adjust to different speaking speeds and become more comfortable with rapid conversations. Tips for effective shadowing. Now that you know how to shadow, let's talk about some additional tips to make your shadowing practice more effective. Be consistent. The key to mastering any skill is practice. Try to shadow every day, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes. Consistent practice will help you make steady progress. Start with simple materials. Don't jump into very complex content right away. Start with simple, easy to understand materials, and gradually work your way up. Use subtitles. If you're having trouble understanding the speaker, you can use subtitles at first. This will help you see the words as they're spoken. However, try to use subtitles less and less as you improve, because the goal is to improve your listening and speaking skills without relying on them. Record yourself. It can be helpful to record your shadowing practice and compare it to the original speaker. This way, you can hear what you're doing well and what you still need to work on. Listening to your recordings will also show how much you've improved over time. Common mistakes to avoid. While shadowing is a great method, there are a few common mistakes that learners make. Let's take a look at what to avoid. Don't stress about being perfect. Many learners worry about making mistakes when they shadow. But remember, perfection is not the goal. The goal is to practice and improve, not to sound exactly like a native speaker right away. The more you practice, the better you will get. Don't give up too soon. Shadowing can be challenging, especially at first. You may feel frustrated because it's hard to keep up with the speaker. But don't give up. The more you practice, the easier it will become. Remember, every mistake is a chance to improve. Don't overdo it. While it's important to practice regularly, don't overwhelm yourself by trying to shadow for hours every day. Start with short sessions and gradually increase the time as you become more comfortable. Short, focused practice sessions are often more effective than long, exhausting ones. Benefits of shadowing. Now let's talk about the many benefits of shadowing. Improves your listening skills. Shadowing exposes you to natural, native speed speech. This helps you train your ears to understand different accents, vocabulary, and speech patterns that you wouldn't get from textbooks alone. Helps with pronunciation. By copying the speaker, you'll improve your pronunciation, making you sound more like a native speaker. This also helps you with word stress and sentence intonation. Increases your vocabulary. Through shadowing, you'll be exposed to new words and phrases in context. This helps you learn vocabulary in a way that's more natural and practical, rather than memorizing isolated words. Boosts your confidence. As you shadow more and more, you'll feel more confident in your speaking abilities. By practicing real-life conversations, you'll become more comfortable speaking in English, even in situations where you need to speak with others. Practice makes perfect. Remember, practice is key. The more you shadow native speakers, the more fluent and confident you will become in speaking English. Keep practicing, and don't give up. Thank you for watching this video. Now you know how to improve your English using the shadowing technique. Start practicing today, and soon you will notice improvements in your listening and speaking skills. Keep it up, and have fun with your English learning journey.
Subscribe, like, and share.